Ladies and gentlemen, look at this table. You gotta pull it up a
I
little
gotta
bit.
pull it up.
Yeah.
No, he's being mysterious.
There he is.
Yes.
Heidi Blackwell shared the stream. Look at my wife already doing
Heidi
it.
Blackwell.
I can't
Keep it going.
Hold up. I'm okay if it has a little sag. I just gotta make sure it's in the right direction.
There you go.
Sag it in the right direction.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this, hit that share button. Oh, we got another one. Rich Hare likes the stream. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff I want to talk about before we get started, and then we'll get into tonight's episode. The Wendigo or
Go nuts over
what
there.
was the one I heard? The Wendigo. It was like
The band Ween?
The Wendigo.
Yeah, the Wendigo.
That's how they say it's
Wendigo.
supernatural.
There's a whole bunch of different names or pronunciations, but we're gonna get into all that here in a minute. And he's gonna be the main guy going for that. Yeah.
I got time to read it. So I'm
And then
gonna read it in slow monotone voice,
yeah,
And then
like
we have-
delicious
yeah.
dish.
Yeah.
chill. Today on podcast.
Oh, not that guy. Oh, I can't stand him.
But yeah, so a little bit of quick news. The merch page right now there's nothing on it. I took everything down.
So don't go there.
Yeah, so if you want a T-shirt,
Go fuck yourself.
pretty much. No,
Make it yourself.
yeah, make it yourself. No, we're doing I did a revamp. I took all the logos and resized it so they kind of look a little different and maybe bump up the quality a little bit on them. I mean, it wasn't bad before, but like for the banners, I wanted them bigger. And if you ordered a fleece blanket and stuff like that, the
Yeah.
logo was like
Like I
the
said,
the blanket's huge and the logo was like this in the middle of it.
The
Oh, I
front
gotcha.
logo is maybe for the resolution should be a little bigger, but on the hoods. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, trial and error.
So
why
yeah,
not?
so we're gonna revamp the merch store. So if you hang tight, I'm sure we'll have it up as soon as possible. If not, obviously we do have the donations and stuff. If you really want to show support, if you don't want to spend money, that's even better because I get uncomfortable with that. Just hit share. Tell your friends the podcast exists.
Money is blessing, so
Yeah.
thank you if you do that.
Or like.
hit like, share, all that
Yeah.
stuff's more
Tell a
important.
friend.
Word of mouth is definitely the way to go. So we're 8 episodes in. We have contact to go to different venues, right? So I don't want to say what they are. yet.
Venues.
Venues
That
are
sounds so cool.
venues are
Replace
locations.
show.
That sounds so cool.
We reached out.
Location.
We reached out to 2 locations, and one reached back out. I have to call them back tomorrow. But if we get into this one, we're going to be shooting on location, and it's going to be awesome. I will give you one hint. We talked about this location on the show, and it is local. We are planning so we're not really filming on location. I mean, kind of are, but like not physically on anything interesting yet.
Like a phone video.
Yeah. So we did book a trip as the podcast to go to Gettysburg. So we're
Yes.
going to be going to Gettysburg. We have a cool little looks like a slasher movie house we're going to be staying
I
in.
love it.
And we're gonna film while we're there the night of. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of ghost stuff the day of, and go explore ghost things, and try some breweries, and get some food, and go to a cool candy store. And
Sweet.
then
Threes.
Threes.
and then we're gonna go back. It probably won't be live because I don't know exactly what the venue, the location of the
Probably
house
the
is.
house will be
Wi-Fi.
zero internet.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
no.
so we probably won't be recording it, but we'll still film it, and then we'll put it up for another time for you guys. And then I guess we can kind of say this one because it's more, I guess, a possibility. But we're in talks with the Yingling Mansion.
Yes.
So-
Emily Ellinger of the Yingling Mansion. Yes.
Yeah, so there may be a spot where we may go to the Yingling Mansion. Now,
That's definitely haunted. I've known that from working at and you've worked at the
Yep.
mansion too, but
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it's more the carriage house than the actual mansion.
The back house.
is
Okay. I was never
crazy.
in there. I was in the mansion because Andy and Rich got married there. It's very nice.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
God, it's beautiful.
If
but
you-
it definitely has a
It's old time.
feel.
Yeah.
It was built in the 1800s.
if you guys know any other locations or no contact to those locations, please send them our way. We definitely want to get in, like the Kaiser Mansion in Monte City would be
So
fantastic.
Chio, do you remember Chio from Rest? I don't know. You don't know. He said he deserves free stuff.
Chio,
Not to interrupt you.
I love you, Chio, but maybe we'll hook you up with a sticker or something.
I'll leave that big comment there.
Yeah. So yeah. If you definitely know anything, let us know. If you know someone's house that's haunted or something
Yes.
creepy in a house, we will bring the podcast
We'll come to your
you.
house. Like,
Yeah, we have a lot of
let
that.
me talk to your ghosties.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff.
Someone's
lined up.
asking you about the Persona games. If you know anything about them, probably don't. It's Shin Megami Tensei. It's like Japanese stuff and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yokai.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
So I forget the Forgotten Generals Blue. Oh, according to Wikipedia. Whoa. Sorry, Alexa. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know
Oh,
too much about the
interesting.
games, but yeah, there's some cool
They
stuff.
use a
there.
lot of lore or mythology. What up, folks?
Interesting.
Thanks again for the shout out yesterday during our group stream. We managed to get a good few viewers.
Is that a man witch sitting there? Hey, maybe we should introduce this guy.
Yeah, the man. We will. We'll get there.
No,
The joint channel is close to being affiliated. Perfect. We are struggling very hard to get affiliated on Twitch. So we've been trying for a while. I think we're in the negative now for actual because people watch on Facebook mostly or YouTube, and Twitch is just not picking up for us, which that's fine. I get it.
that's more gamers.
Yeah. It's just it's
Some podcasts
we're rolling the
are
dice. See what
gamer.
happens. But yeah, so we do have a guest tonight. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jackson Gunnelson. I'm a local.
That's it.
I'm a local.
And
Local yokel.
yep, I'm a local yokel. That's what they call me. When I walk down the street, I've got a fantastic story to share with you all.
I'm so excited.
I'm pretty sure some of the people in the chat, because I shared it a bit, some of y'all have already heard it and they can vouch for
Damn,
it.
look at that chat go.
Yeah.
You guys are killing it. The chat and sharing and all that stuff is
Guys, that's incredible.
it helps us tremendously more
Thank
than you know.
I've got a beautiful story to share with y'all.
I'm so
And then
excited.
you is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Then tomorrow before Not Cool in High School, he's gonna come over, hang out, and he's gonna do an interviews with everyday people with
There
me.
you go.
That's
Cool.
so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and then I mean, depending if you can make a day out of it, you can just hang. I'm sure we'll have an open seat. You can hang out in Not Cool in High
If
School.
I'm allowed, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure
So
exactly.
fun.
Well, Andy won't be at
Yeah.
Not Cool tomorrow, so you can
Flip-flop.
have Andy's seat tomorrow,
Wow.
and you can talk video games
Wow.
and comic book stuff with
Or
us.
whatever
Hell
you want to
yeah.
hear. Movie.
Hell
That
yeah.
shit.
I don't
That's
think we've ever had a trifecta guest where they've been on 3 shows and
Oh, I'm the first.
you might be the first.
Hell
Oh
yeah.
It's the hat,
my
it's the
goodness,
hat.
it's the hat.
It's the
Yeah, the hat.
Cast a hex.
The hat
It's
and the
it's a hat
Arizona
trick.
tea glasses.
Yep.
It's a hat trick for you sports
Hat
fans.
trick?
It's when you get 3
Uh-huh.
goals in one game. So 3 podcasts, 3 appearances, hat trick, and he's wearing a witch's hat.
Wow.
Nailed it.
I'll wear the-
We're all gonna wear witches hats.
I'll bring the full costume tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Do it.
Like a dress.
Well, it's more like an apron, but yeah.
All right, nice.
Cooking.
Damn, look at that chat go.
I know you guys are killing it.
Guys,
We will
you're
get
awesome.
we will get to the chat in 1 second. Yeah, so all that cool stuff we have planned. Once again, the support and love you guys been sharing has been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do is it comes with all the channels. So our biggest thing is we're gonna try to get every episode. Now, the only way that this doesn't work for us is if for some reason the program that we use sometimes cuts the stream off midstream. If that happens, what we have to do is we have to take down the episode, then re-upload the full video. But the bad news is we lose credit for all those comments, all those stream views, everything. So if that does happen, I know that happened to us 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that happened to our last.
And everyone flocked back and watched it again just to make sure they watched the whole
really
thing
cool,
and
yeah.
helped
That's
and
awesome.
tremendously helped us out. But we
awesome.
want to get all of the pages, like all the videos. If we could, our mini goal would be 100 streams. We're getting over 200 to 300 people viewing it and watching it. But if a quarter of that can just hit share, so it just more people hear about it, the word of mouth would be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our little personal goal or our challenge to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Is definitely share this out and let people know about it.
Yeah, please.
Liking
See,
it
more
too,
more
yeah.
shares. I love it. I
Oh,
love how it
thank
pops
you
up.
so much.
You guys are killing it. I
Wow.
love it,
That's
man.
awesome.
The chat
That
is
guy
going
said
crazy.
that he runs a meme page, and it was hard for them to get followers for their Switch.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Eric Bevan?
Yep.
Hi,
Yep.
Bevan.
Yeah, that's Eric.
Forgotten General
Hi.
Blue or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Hi, Bev.
Love you, bud.
He's a great
Yeah,
guy.
he's dope. He went to
I can't say no. I don't know.
he
He
went
is a good guy.
he went to Sarah's open mic night for Lager Laughs too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we had a weird I recorded on Saturday. I recorded our football podcast, and then while that was going on, Heidi and Sarah from Not Cool in High School, she started her own movie review podcast.
What's it called? You know.
I don't have it
As
off
I
my
said
head.
it like.
Yeah, I will find that and put it in
do you
there. But
It's called Movie Nation.
yeah,
It's old.
but they were recording upstairs while I was recording downstairs.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
whole house was recording podcast the whole time. Was
Should got the dog on one.
yeah, Heidi, lady was
It's
with
just
Heidi.
lady in front of his laptop.
Bark Box reviews. What do you think of this lady?
She tears it apart. I don't think she likes it very much.
No, she hates that one. Well, she. But yeah, so we have a lot of cool stuff, and then in the links below we added some stuff. So we're crediting our amazing theme music
Oh,
from Max
yes.
Bolin. You can follow Max at Bandcamp under No Rain Checks, I believe, and it's all No Rain Checks and his solo stuff's all on there. And then you can follow him on Facebook and reach out to him if you want to book him.
And also
And then-
follow our band.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's
plug-
on there.
plug- plug-
And then
plug
I put some
Wartime.
links.
More
I like the
times.
logo. It's pretty cool.
Thanks.
With
It's
the-
on your chair.
And then I put all the links for Tori below, so you can follow her on Facebook,
Whoa.
Instagram, and contact her
Wowee.
for card readings. And we did a little card reading after the show ended last week.
Yeah.
And I think I'm getting good.
He's getting really good at
I think I'm
reading.
getting
I
good.
knew
You're
it. I
gonna-
knew
you're
you were
gonna
a
start
good reader.
stealing her thunder. there.
Yeah, I'm gonna. If you guys need readings,
Go to Tony.
I'll do it for $1
I'm,
less.
I'm washed up. Go to Tony.
She charges 25. I'll charge 24.
$24.98.
$24.98.
Can't beat these prices.
Yeah. All right. So tonight's topic
Mm-hmm.
is a very big crypto or mythology.
Mythology.
It's a little
kinda
bit-
like
It's
a-
folklore.
A legend
Yeah.
that turned cryptid.
Yeah.
Over the years.
So we will get into the main thing, but this is something that it's crazy because it's one of those things where you never heard of it or you did but didn't realize you did, because this has taken over everything pop culture.
Yeah.
This cryptid has been involved in numerous TV shows like Supernatural.
Marvel.
It has
Comic
been
books.
it's in the comic books in the Marvel
I'll take a
universe.
picture then.
It
Video
is,
games.
it's in video games.
Until Dawn. the main
Movies,
bad
yeah,
guy.
it's everywhere. It has a lot of different visuals or depictions of it, which
There's
we'll get
like
into.
two main ones that we can kind of
Yeah,
go to, but
and then also we're gonna take photos of like the comic books and stuff like that, and all the fun stuff
there's
that
a
we're
cool
using.
picture in this book. Then we'll share that out. Then.
Yeah, and that'll all be over on the Facebook page as well as Instagram too. So we are making a little bit of a campaign for our Instagram page and YouTube as well. So if you do follow this, below is a Linktree account you can click on, and it'll show you
Gotta do
everywhere.
that. Sorry,
Sheep
the
squatch.
sheep squatch.
Sweet squatch.
Sheep
Um,
squatch.
I'm into it.
But the
Half man, half sheep, all monster.
Dear God.
um,
Well, tonight's episode's about the sheep squatch.
yeah, we threw a
Just
curveball.
kidding.
No. But yeah, so if you check those links out, definitely go give us some love on those other platforms. I'm trying to get better at Twitter.
It's hard. I
I
don't like
know.
I don't like Twitter.
Neither do
I just don't like the setup. I don't like the replies are before the comments, so I'm confused. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't.
I'm too much of a boomer for
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah.
But my mom is really active on Twitter.
Oh,
So.
wow.
Get it, moms.
Hey, different strokes.
All right, Andy, let's dive into this.
Okay, so I got again. I will reference this book, "Chasing American Monsters" by Jason Offit, because he does all these goes state by state and does
Who
like a
liked
little,
us on Instagram?
Yeah, which is
That's
pretty cool. Yeah,
incredible!
and I think we followed him, and I went and followed him and everything.
Yeah.
So he does little book about monsters that are all over cryptids across the U.S. So here's the Wendigo, and I have this one in Maine. So this one's kind of like a real short synopsis of the creature. So here we go. This creature, this creature is an Algonquin Indian legend that involves a malevolent spirit that possesses a human body and gives the person a taste for human flesh. Depicted as everything from a hairy human with sharp teeth and bulging eyes to an emaciated human-like creature with antlers to an ice giant that moves in a whirlwind. That one's awesome. So it's like imagine an ice-powered Taz.
Yeah.
Not the wrestler Taz. Blah, 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 blah. The one constant in all Wendigo legends is that it is a cannibal. That is definitely the constant. And people
Yeah.
are susceptible to Wendigo possession if they are cursed or have resorted to cannibalism during a famine. And then just another quick synopsis there. If you guys have anything to say, I'll switch to the next one.
Yeah, it is the I'm gonna definitely mispronounce this, but the
Algonquin.
Algonquin
It is hard to
tribes.
say.
Yeah, so they it's derived, and they say it comes from their teachings and their language first, and they're based in the northern forest of Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada, and the Great Lake regions of Canada and the Wisconsin, the United States. The Wendigo is described how he was saying as a monster with some characteristics of human or a spirit who has possessed a human and made them human being and made them become monstrous. Its influences to invoke acts of murder, greed, cannibalism, and the cultural taboos against such behaviors.
Culture taboos of interracial dating because it's the 50s.
Yeah,
right.
guilty.
Yeah, you and Heidi.
The culture lends its name to the controversial modern-day term of Wendigo psychosis, which we'll get into a
Yeah.
little bit, described by physicians as a culture-bound syndrome with symptoms such as intense craving for human flesh and fear of becoming a cannibal. In some indigenous communities, environmental destruction of greed are also seen as a manifestation of the Wendigo psychosis as well.
I never heard of the Wendigo psychos. That's interesting.
Yeah, that fact that they actually like at one point in time like used it as, I mean, it was discredited very shortly afterwards, but at some
Yeah.
point in time it was a part of psychological
Well,
medical.
I have another.
crazy.
I don't have
Yeah.
it in front of me here, so I'm gonna just kind of wing it from what I was kind of watching and reading. I can't. If I find it in here,
I was
I'll
going to
get
say
more.
I'll jump into this other one. Then.
But just real quick, so there was a indigenous people, Native American people in Canada, and they were this guy shot and killed another person, and when he shot and killed him, they were like, "Well, why did you do this?" Now he was part of a culture where they weren't in Maine society, so they didn't even know that what the law of the land was because they kind of beat to their own drum and they kind of do their own thing in their own area. But this man murdered another man. And they tried him, and he's like, the reason I killed him is because he was turning into a Wendigo. Like, in our culture, if you...
They're like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
that's what
we had to do it.
Yeah, that's what it needs to be done. So he was actually one of the first cases of like a cryptid or that type of stuff that actually went to court. And then they end up finding that this was happening more in a lot of communities, like Native American communities. And a lot of people were getting arrested and getting life in prison that were Native American people because they were acting out what they thought was part of their culture.
That's crazy.
It
Yeah.
is. There's a thing I read too about a Native American guy that like killed his whole family. And
Yeah.
they said he was I'll pull it up there.
Yeah.
I forgot what his name was,
Yeah.
but yeah, yep.
He came out of the woods and they were like, "Where's
Because
your family?" And he's
yeah.
like, "They all starved to death." And they're like, "Well, it didn't look like you missed a meal."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like he was like, yeah, exactly. He
And
wasn't
they went up
starving
and
at all.
found all of his family's bones and stuff.
That's crazy.
And then he immediately was just like, yeah, I ate all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. So I'm gonna read this other one real quick here while you check the chat, see what's happening there. It said, this one is a Wendigo sighting in Minnesota, so I can do it in the whole Minnesota voice. So that might be pretty
Minnesota.
hard.
Hey.
Minnesota. Apparently, this big fellow really gets around. The Wendigo is a creature that was once a man who ate another human. The unforgivable sin transforms a human into a 15-foot tall, shaggy monster. Now, this is more along the comic one that I have here.
Yeah.
This oh, wait, sorry, that part. With long fangs and glowing yellow eyes. Oh, and it's hungry too. Always hungry for human flesh. The early white settlers in Minnesota claimed to have seen these wicked banshees and consider them an omen of death. This is very metal right here. Reportedly, in the late 1800s to early 1900s, the town of Rasu, 11 miles south of the Canadian border, had a number of sightings of a Wendigo. Each sighting was followed by a death. Sightings of this creature in northern Minnesota and Canada are still reported today.
Every
And
episode
we have
is
a
just an
picture here,
accent.
so yeah, we gotta do.
You gotta do an
So
accent.
that's the one with apparently is not the classic one.
yeah,
Like,
that's the
like
one that has the
dog-
stag head with the antlers.
Yeah, it has like hoofed feet, and it's more like a man deer thing. Some have a
The
bone
man
face.
bear
I
pig.
seen, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of like the humanoid that's real gaunt and has like white
Yeah.
skin and fangs. And
The
White
White
yeah.
Walkers.
Yeah, the White Walkers
yeah.
from Game of
Yep.
Thrones are loosely based off the Wendigo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, and then the comic one I have here, this one sounds more like that. He's just basically Bigfoot that eats people.
Yeah.
So
This also too that the way that they think that the stag head kind of came into it is the guy who created the movie Wendigo, the horror movie. When they asked him where he got his research or where he got this idea for the character, he's like, I read real scary stories to tell in the dark and kind of just made up my own idea of what this character should be. So I gave it like a deer head with antlers, and then it kind of took off because it was the first movie to be
We
used.
love Hollywood.
Yeah, so like it actually like it almost got rid of the like some people think Wendigo, the first thing they think is this deer-headed
head.
stag head.
Yeah.
But like the first cases of it were either like almost like a yeti or almost like a skinwalker, where it was
Yeah.
almost like a humanoid,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's all kind of blended together since.
it's weird. And then some people report one, some report the other. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
what did they see? Who knows? Did they see Bigfoot? I don't know. You know. What- I'm sure Bigfoot eat people.
or
too.
during early
Big
early
feet.
settlers. This is my skeptic coming in. It was probably Native American people wearing probably like a wolf head or some type of skin over them.
Yeah.
Could be.
Because they even knew, like, when they would hunt, if they found anything albino, that was rare to them, so they would keep and use it in, like, their clothing. You know what I mean? Because it was a more precious commodity.
Yeah.
And you're hunting
There are
for
some
food.
native peoples and indigenous peoples around the world that still do that. Like
Yeah.
the albinism is a very sacred thing for
Yeah,
them.
so they probably, maybe somebody had, like, a white wolf or a white deer, and they're probably walking around, and early settlers like, what the fuck is that looking at us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, yeah.
And the light shine off its eyes in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, obviously, we didn't have the internet back then. Well, they didn't
No.
have the internet. I'm not saying we, like I was there in my
did.
past life.
Might have been. You never know.
In my past life.
Souls
That's why I
recycle.
did not have the internet. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
While Andy reads into this, if you guys in the chat here just kind of challenge you guys to type a little bit. When did you guys first hear about the Wendigo, and what are your first experiences of hearing this story, and
So,
where in pop culture
your
did
friend
you see
Dan was talking about the what's his name? Dan, what was his name? Sorry, Blue.
Bevan.
Bevan.
Okay, yeah.
Eric Bevan,
Yeah,
yep.
Eric was talking about Until Dawn and how the Wendigo is in that.
Yes.
Mhm.
He's a skinwalker, so
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's a cheap
Spoiler
game,
alert
fun
if you
game,
haven't beat
yeah.
Until Dawn yet.
Yeah, but hey, it's been out for 5 years, so
Yeah, it's on you at this
if you
point.
haven't, the hell with it.
We're on a whole nother generation
Yeah,
console
yeah.
now.
So I got another article here, so I'm going to read just
ahead.
the beginning to give you an idea in case you know nothing at all. So as the tale goes, the Wendigo was once a lost hunter. During a brutally cold winter, this man's intense hunger drove him to cannibalism. After feasting on another human's flesh, he transformed into a crazy man-beast, roaming the forest in search of more people to eat. Like, how great is that? That is a song
That's
right there. This
crazy.
metal song.
Now, how much of this do you think was like, because a lot of the Wendigos, pretty much for the most part, Wendigos are strictly male, right? And then after they eat, then they lose their organs, the sexual organs, because
'cause,
they
like-
feel like they would probably. I think their whole thing was that they would eat anything. So a lot of them didn't have lips because they could bite their lips.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anything they had access to, they would probably like pull off and eat.
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean?
In the
Um,
comic, when someone turns into it, when they get bit and they turn into it, or they eat a human and turn into it,
It's like a zombie.
They all
almost.
look the same.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they all just turn into the same
Yep.
creature.
So a lot of this might have been like, early times, you would have to go out and probably travel very far to get your food.
Yeah.
And on those expeditions, especially during the winter, it's a lot easier to track your food. And if you hit it, you can probably track the blood in the snow. And those guys would get stuck in snowstorm. Because a lot of this, all the Wendigo stuff all happens during snowstorms a lot.
Yep.
It's
Where
like during-
where the game is scarce.
Yeah.
That's why some of them have a lot of hair on them.
Yep. And it might have been in their culture to kind of like how we use the Bible. Sorry if you are religious, this isn't me bashing your religion, but a lot of people, in my opinion, like the Bible's kind of used as like a scare tactic, or like don't do that or
To
you'll
hold on to morals.
or like Santa Claus, like everything.
Yeah, to control.
Yeah.
Every culture has a thing to like to be good or this bad thing can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the Wendigo, in my opinion, this is my skepticism coming in, where they could say like, if you go out in the hunt and you guys are starving for food, like die honorably, because if you turn and eat each other, you're going to turn these crazy creatures.
Yeah.
To kind of like
That
scare
could
them
be.
away from doing it. Like in culture and societies, like if you kill yourself, if you have suicidal thoughts. Now, suicidal thoughts and depression has always been in mankind, but it
Absolutely.
was always said like if you kill yourself, there's no free pass. You're going
Yeah,
straight to
isn't
hell.
that from Catholicism?
Yeah, so it's like it's one of those things where kind of they understand where the mental and the human nature can kick in, but they have to create this thing so you don't act on it to like not do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What were you gonna say?
Going off of that train of thought, I think it's actually quite possible that the Wendigo story that we hear is just that common idea coming up again and again and again. Because I was just thinking about the Peritons from Greek mythology
Oh yeah.
and how that's a very similar mythos of
Yeah.
these shape-shifting, even with the deer motifs, where it's that they were cannibals. They were people who lost their souls, and I'm sure you could find it in many other cultures as well, where it'd be interesting to find out like why we associate deer with that for one.
Yeah.
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 I guess
what's interesting is because like Native Americans hold the stag very, very like high with
Yeah.
like high esteem.
well, if you think about it, when it comes like for me trying to get somewhat logical, a lot of this Wendigo culture has been north, like our area, northern Canada, the Great Lakes
Yeah,
area.
it's more a colder area.
Where
colder
deer
climate.
populate like crazy. So
True.
so to them the deer is high standards because it's probably the most common food source you can get. And then like you can go after bear and moose, but they will like that's a tough day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the deer is a perfect size where you can still kill it, gut it, and get it out of the
And carry
bush
it back out,
and
yeah.
carry it back out. And then their cloth is still very valuable. Their pelt is very valuable.
Every part of it.
The antlers can be used probably to craft sword like knives or shanks. Like, if you have to protect yourself.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I mean? So and there's such a high populated area of those animals. So I think the reason why maybe the stag thing was kind of incorporated, in my opinion, would be like if they're going on a journey to go hunt, and you kind of get stuck out in the blizzard, you don't know your way back or something like that. So it was kind of going what they're going to hunt for on top of what's going on.
True.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the first thing I always think about is like when I start thinking about like the Wendigo. What's that?
Your mom said she first heard about the
That's a
Wendigos
good
at a
one.
bush party in the Burma.
With the Burma monkeys, mom.
Not because
Burma.
anyone goes
Oh my
up,
God,
the,
the Burma
up on the
monkey.
Burma.
Yeah.
But the first thing I always think of when I think of the Wendigo and like just the idea of just I want to. I mean, this is just my. It's like I don't want to really know, but I want to know the psychology of what it actually means, like when you actually eat a human. Because like, what is the psychology? You're already just. But that's what I'm like. This psychology that comes over. Like when I first learned of the Wendigo, it was just like, what was the phrase that I used? Like the hunger that should not be.
Mhm.
Where it's just like if you eat another human being, like what does that do to you?
Like
and
the Always Sunny episode.
Probably nothing.
You think?
I don't
think for me it would be so weird for me because we always have this idea like we have humans more on a pedestal than other animals.
Yeah.
And it's just like eating one of your kind. Like that to me that would probably be enough to drive me crazy.
Well, what was that actual based on a true story they made into a movie where like a soccer team was traveling to play or an ice hockey team or some type of sports team was traveling to play a game. Their plane crashed in the middle
Alive,
of nowhere.
remember that? Yeah.
And they
Early
literally
90s, Alive.
they like
Yep.
drew straws and they're like, well, listen, you're more hurt than we are. You're slowing us down. When you pass, we're eating you. Like they got to the point where they were like, it was like rock, paper, scissors. Like, all right, when we get to the point we're hungry, you're next. You drew the short straw.
My God. That's so bizarre to me. Like that, I mean, I'm glad it's bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's
I can't say I wouldn't. I mean, if I was in a situation and like, if we were in a terrible accident and like two people didn't make it, and where it's like just me and you were
if
survived,
I was
and they're
already dead,
and they're
have
dead.
at it.
Yeah,
Like if I was
think you're already dead, but if you're
Yeah.
killing
but
someone
don't
to eat
kill
them,
me
yeah.
to eat me.
Don't
Yeah.
kill me.
Yeah,
That's a little
You
different.
can indulge in the long pork.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you ever hear that one?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do in a situation.
I don't know either.
I think knowing my personality though, I'd be the guy to be like, all right, their guys are all starving. I hope they're man enough to do it, and I'd probably
Do it. You won't.
I would Optimus Prime myself. I must kill myself to save everyone.
And then a deer shows up.
God damn it! And then
Like,
someone
oh,
would I
shit.
cut my throat, and
The
there's like
deer.
all flashlights. What are you guys doing over there? And I'm like,
I heard a deer. I heard a deer.
And everyone else gets
Help me!
arrested.
Help me!
what else we got here?
Too late for you, son of a bitch.
The Anasani. I hope I said this right. Anasani Goat Man.
Anasazi.
That's in the book.
Anasazi?
There's a main goat man too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Rish says she heard it from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Okay.
I love those books. And Jen said she heard it on the TV show Supernatural. It wasn't
Oh.
Supernatural,
Supernatural.
well,
did
with
talk
12
about it, yeah.
seasons, I bet everything was in
It
Supernatural.
sure.
was in
Yeah.
season 1.
was it?
Wow,
Yeah,
how about
I
that?
remember.
It was also in the TV show Charmed too.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sure.
It was in Charmed. I'm sure it was in Ghost Adventures. Speaking of Ghost Adventures, real quick sidebar. Did you see what their next episode they're promoting is?
No.
So they have to go to a really haunted, scary location, right?
I'm ready.
So guess
Is that
what?
the one with the guy with the slicked hair and he's like kind of jacked?
Yeah.
He looks like a douchebag.
Yep.
Oh, he is. You know where they're going?
Nowhere.
Eastern State.
No, scarier,
Penhurst.
scarier.
What's the Shining Mansion?
The
I've been
Stanley
there.
Hotel.
Yeah, Stanley Hotel. Yeah.
I've been there.
Really?
I would
Really? Oh,
love
wow.
to
Isn't it
go
Colorado?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's overpriced.
Really?
Oh,
like
I'm
if
sure.
you want to like even walk in, it's like $50.
Really?
Yeah, and that's just the lobby.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's where
all the blood came out.
Yeah.
No, they're going to Joe Exotic's old zoo
Oh God.
to see the horrors of the Joe Exotic
Delete.
zoo. And people want to take that show seriously.
No comment.
You want
Yeah.
to talk about 15 minutes of fame that came and went?
All right.
There you go.
I used to live in Oklahoma,
Really?
and I would see ads for Joe Exotics.
Oh, wow.
That's
So,
crazy.
You gotta come down to this zoo and see these tigers.
yeah, yep. This is unrelated, but I think the world should know. There are these things called Monkey Islands in Oklahoma, where like in the early 1900s, these rich dudes would buy islands and say, you know what, let's just put a bunch of monkeys on it because that seems like a
Because
thing
that's
to
what
do.
rich people do.
Yeah,
Why not?
And there were just a bunch of them. I remember at least like 3 of them from the area.
It's better than Epstein's Island.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
true. Yeah.
And I would always tell this to my roommate, and he's like, "Oh God, you're fucking with me. There's no way that Monkey Islands are real." And then Tiger King dropped, and he was like, "Well, I guess Monkey Islands are,
And that goddamn bitch Carol
that
Baskins
goddamn
is on.
Dancing with the Stars. so
I can't handle this.
Anything's
and her
possible.
first song is "Eye of the
Oh.
Tiger."
oh my god.
Earn that money while you can, because
what about Earl's Gotta Die?
Oh God.
I refuse to watch that. I don't
Oh.
wanna watch that bullshit.
Uh-oh, everybody.
Anyway, let's talk more about this
Yeah.
Wendigo instead of one hit wonder.
Cut us.
What?
They cut us.
Yep.
Oh my.
Did we get back in, or?
Video. Nope. Because if I end it, it's going to be a 2-part thing now. So at this
Okay.
point, we're just going to keep rolling.
But if y'all
Okay.
listen audio wise, it's just one straight.
Yeah,
Like
it's
when
one
you guys
straight.
got cut off, it was one straight podcast.
Yeah.
So.
We'll just upload and
We'll
upload.
keep
That
going.
sucks,
Yeah.
man. We had a lot of shit going on
We
there.
Oh
did.
man. Oh well. What can you do? Should I read some more here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep,
So-
keep it going.
This is a great article about it. So the story of the Wendigo, sometimes spelled Wendigo with just all I's instead of E, comes from Algonquin Native American folklore, and the exact details vary depending on who you ask. Some people who have claimed to encounter the beast say it's a relative of Bigfoot, but others report compare it to a werewolf instead. It said since the Wendigo is said to be a cold weather creature, like we said, most sightings have been reported in Canada, as well as colder northern states such as Minnesota. At the turn of the 20th century, the Algonquin tribes blamed many unsolved disappearances of people on Wendigo attacks. And then it goes on, like, what does the Wendigo look like, which we kind of said there's a painting of the Wendigo, but that's, I don't know, it's terrible art, I think. I don't like that at all. It looks like a cat that's,
tried.
like,
He
trying to look
tried.
back that has antlers that look like spider webs. And it says for being an insatiable predator, the Wendigo is definitely not the largest or most muscular beast out there. Though it's said to be almost 15 feet tall, which that's bigger. That's taller than Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
Because Bigfoot's like 8, 9 feet.
That's taller than the what is it that we were talking about? That one really jacked Pennsylvania
Oh
cryptid?
yeah,
The gargoyle.
the gargoyle,
gargoyle.
the Butler gargoyle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was only 9
well,
feet.
he's too busy working out. I can't even worry about growing.
With them quads
Alright.
though.
Yeah, that
the
was my
quad-
favorite part of the story. It's like they seen this Charles
Muscular
Muscular,
legs.
but his legs were amazing.
big quads on him. Anyway, the Wendigo, 50 feet tall, his body is often described as emaciated, so he's not hitting the gym. Perhaps this can be attributed to the notion that he is never satisfied with his cannibalistic urges.
Yeah.
Obsessed with hunting for new victims, he is forever hungry until he's eaten another person. And then I guess, 5 minutes go by and he wants to eat again.
But when you're up in Canada,
Yeah.
you see the Wendigo and you're like, you feel bad for it because he's kind of hungry. So you're doing a good thing by getting killed.
Feeding himself to you.
I don't see why it just doesn't go to Tim Hortons.
Get a coffee, and then get some poutine on your fries. Get a double in your coffee.
Yep.
Poutine on the fries, and you'll be set.
Delicious.
You hear Tim got killed by the Wendigo? Oh, that's a shame, but at least he
shame,
got
eh?
a good meal out
Hey,
of him.
Kim stole me $15, eh?
Tim got some meat to him.
Yeah.
The Canadians are so polite.
Yeah.
All right.
Tim's looking
Oh,
pretty good
Wendigo,
today.
I know you're gonna kill me, man, but
He went down to Minnesota.
make it quick.
Would you let me just brush off my front steps first?
When the wife to come on slip and break her neck.
Every episode, it's just another.
I love
episode.
doing impressions. Where else can I do them?
That's true.
And accents. More on how the Wendigo looks. So this is more so the skinwalker type Wendigo. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation. It's, how do you say that word? Dissected? Desiccated?
Desiccated.
Desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. I learned a new word tonight. With its bones pushing out over its skin, its complexion, the ash gray of death. And that's a good name for a band. And its eyes pushed back deep into the sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. Well, this is some good words here tonight. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. What does
Damn.
corruption smell like? Apparently death. And then it
14
said also,
Big Macs and a soda.
It's also been said that the Wendigo has large, sharp claws and massive eyes like an owl. That's kind of cool. I didn't
It
really
is
see that.
interesting.
However, some other people simply describe the Wendigo as a skeleton-like figure with ash-toned skin. I think that's more along the lines with the comic book from that made of Bigfooty. But no matter which version sounds the most plausible, this is obviously not a creature you'd want to run into on a hike. And here is a taxidermy version of a jacked, beyond belief Wendigo.
Oh my god. You'd see that at a war concert.
You want he would,
Like a war concert.
this one would give the Butler Gargoyle a run for his money.
Butler
working out.
Gargoyle, there we go.
'Cause this for the people who I'll show it. It looks like the Hulk with like horns and long hair and a beard. So that's pretty crazy. Here, so let me scroll here. Here we go. Different versions of the Wendigo legend say different things about his speed and agility. Some claim he is unusually fast and can endure walking for long periods of time, even in harsh winter conditions. Others say he walks in a more haggard manner, as if he is falling apart. But speed wouldn't be a necessary skill for a monster of this nature. Unlike other terrifying carnivores, the Wendigo doesn't rely on pursuing his prey in order to capture and eat it. Rather, one of his said traits is his ability to mimic human voices. He uses this skill to lure people in and draw them away from civilization. Once they're isolated in the desolate depths of the wilderness, he feasts on them. This guy has a hell of a knack for writing.
Or a thesaurus.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And he goes on about the spirit of lonely places. There was another one I want to read here. It's basically kind of a lot of stuff we went over already. One of the most infamous cases of the story of Swift Runner, a Native American man who murdered and ate his whole family during the winter of 1879.
Yeah, that's what this was.
According to Animal Planet, which, they know their stuff, Swift Runner claimed to be possessed by a Wendigo spirit at the time of the murder. Still, he was hanged for his crime. Well, funnily enough, there were quite a few other stories about these spirits supposedly possessing people in communities stretching from northern Quebec. I can't do a French accent. Oh, I can, but I'll have to think about it. To the Rockies. Many of these reports were shockingly similar to the Swift Runner case.
Chocolate blue.
Yeah.
We all just do that. Hell.
Ratatouille.
I just noticed you walked into the room.
Ratatouille, pepper et pew.
Yeah, fromage.
That's crazy.
Only too much.
Yeah.
Dexter's laugh.
Say it again.
Omelette du fromage.
I'm not good with the French accent. It's a hard one to do.
You know what happens when you say that in a girl's ear?
What?
You know what you're messing with then? Some wet
Wap.
ass pussy.
Oh my God.
Wep.
Did you mention French in that song at all? I don't know. The
That
legend.
song is French.
Yeah, I'll go on. The legend.
Pardon my French.
The Wendigo has
That's
been.
why it's
Pardon
called
my
French
wap.
kissing.
Oh God.
Sorry, Andy.
He's trying to get it.
I'm trying to get
Yeah.
off that because I hate that. So, anyway, the Wendigo has long been associated with real life problems like insatiable greed, selfishness, and violence. It's also linked to the many cultural taboos against these negative actions and behaviors. Basically, the word Wendigo can also function as a symbol for gluttony and the image of excess.
Some
that
some
something?
cultures, some in the Native American culture too, and then what they passed on is you don't even have to go into the woods to get attacked or possessed by the Wendigo. The Wendigo can actually possess you or consume you if you are thinking those thoughts, or if you're in a manic depressive state, or you're thinking of greed
advantage of your
or
state.
murder, or
Yeah.
just if you're in a really dark place. The Wendigo. So pretty much like the Wendigo to them was almost like a demon. So like
Yeah.
if you're thinking bad thoughts, it will take over you, which kind of lends into the Stephen King adaptation of Pet Sematary, where the Wendigo kind of soiled the land there, and even the Native Americans would left that land. But they would bury their pets there, and then it ended up turning into if you buried it further in the mountains on the soiled land, that's where the your stuff would come back to life, and when it come back to life, it had a hunger that it would eat and attack people.
Did they ever show the Wendigo in the movie?
No,
Okay.
nope. They would just
It's
kind
more of an idea.
It was the idea, or you would have dreams, or because they said the Wendigo can come to you in dreams as well, and just the idea of the Wendigo. You heard noises and symbolizing but they never physically showed a
So
Wendigo.
they like really powered him up and gave him some.
He was more of a being than he was a creature.
More like a Freddy than just a Bigfoot roaming the woods.
Yep.
I just said that this right here says shows including Supernatural, Grim, and Charmed. So you're all right
Yep.
there. Interestingly enough, there are even a couple of lakes today named after the beast, including Lake Wendigo in Minnesota and Wendigo Lake in Wisconsin. So there you go. How about that?
We going?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Maybe
Well, got
now
family out
now
there.
I
if
was
there's a
gonna say
lake
he's got a family out there.
if there's a lake monster in the Wendigo Lake, you know how they name them all really lame names? Would they call the lake monster Wendigo-y? 'Cause you know how it's just
Wendigo-y.
Nessie.
It's like Nessie.
It's
Wendy.
like- yeah, Wendy. It'd be
Wendy,
Wendy.
it's my mom.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. That monster's named after another monster.
yeah.
Oh, it's just Wendy. Don't worry about it.
Winnie the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. It's also eats humans, and then you'll turn into one of their.
As long as you
Loch Ness
don't
monster.
have the taste for human flesh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
If you're not clinically depressed, you'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Take the-
I meant to say damn it earlier for more comedic effect.
Yeah.
Damn it.
We'll edit it in.
yeah.
No, it's better. It's better.
So the cool thing about, if you want to, we'll dive into a little nerdy culture here. He has 2 X-Men comics here, and both times he's, X-Men, Wolverine and a Spider-Man comic, but Spider-Man's also with Wolverine here. So Wolverine has had a lot of run-ins with the Wendigo. So Wolverine's first appearance is Hulk in a Hulk book.
Well, Hulk 181.
Yep.
And Hulk is fighting Wendigo.
Yep.
But before that, because Wendigo debuted in issue 162 or 161, something like that.
Yeah.
So
the Hulk was fighting the Wendigo, and one of the very last panels of the page, Wolverine kind of is showing, and he's like, "I'm here."
yeah, because a lot of times
Here
in the
I am.
comics, Wendigo is from Canada.
Yeah.
Wolverine's from Canada, and they also have Sasquatch, which is this big giant Bigfoot guy, but he actually has a name. He's a human that turned into one. So they're always from Canada, so that's why I keep the Canadians together, and then they'll fight the Hulk.
Yep. So Wolverine makes his first appearance in a comic book that the hero is fighting a Wendigo. So kind of interesting to know that character kind of made his debut that way in a Hulk book.
Yeah, and it's not like Green Goblin is Norman Osborn. It's not one person. It's always like people get turned into the Wendigo, and the Wendigo spirit lives on in different monsters. So it's not like one guy. You know?
Yeah.
It's not Lex Luthor. You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
They are creatures. They
Yeah.
kind of.
And then the comic one, that's what I always think of, just like a big white Bigfoot with red eyes, fangs, teeth. They're very cool looking.
Yeah.
The Marvel comics, obviously.
And then, like we were saying earlier, they're using the video game Until Dawn. So the Until Dawn is like a cinematic, choose your adventure style
Because I
video
don't know
game.
anything about it. 'Cause I
So
don't really
this game,
video game.
you kind of walk around and explore, but it's more like point and click type game.
It's like you
like a Nancy Drew.
there's like a
Kinda.
yeah.
Yeah, actually.
It's like a cabin or a house with these. You play as like all the good guys, and you gotta keep them alive until dawn. Get it?
Yeah.
And then when it goes out, they get
But the thing is depending on how you choose, like, so something will happen. Well, like your character's about to fall, and you'd be like, do you grab the ledge or do you grab your friend? And you have like 3 seconds to make that choice. Because the game's like, and then the game gets super intense, and the noises, and your heartbeat, and the screen fades, and it's scaring the shit out of you. And then you make your choice, and depending on what choices you make throughout the entire game, they all have an effect. So you can go this entire game and everyone dies, or you can go the entire game and only one person survives, or you can go the entire game where nobody survives.
Wow.
So there's hundreds of different endings to this game. But the main, so a lot of the time you think it's a slasher most of the movie, like you're getting attacked by some type of slasher guy, and then you end up finding out that you're being hunted by Wendigos.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
kind of cool.
That
Yeah.
is cool.
They should have made it. Like maybe they make a sequel where the Wendigo bites one, and then that person turns into a Wendigo. So,
So-
but it might
Yeah.
become
The
too
people who
much.
make-
So then the next game you play as the Wendigo and you
Yeah.
try to get everybody.
Try to get the kids.
So this the style of this game came from a game called Heavy Rain, and then it was Beyond Two Souls or Beyond and then it became Detroit Become Human. So they keep the same premise of the game where like your choices are kind of like
the same style of gameplay.
yeah, but they have something like the first one.
I've watched some Twitchers play with Detroit Beyond Human. So.
Yeah, I have had to play, but Heavy Rain was fucking awesome.
Really?
Heavy Rain was a guy's kid gets kidnapped, but it's kind of like the movie Crash, where there's like 5 different stories going on at once. But the whole premise of this game is there's this guy who's going around kidnapping people, or kidnapping children, or killing people, or killing women, and like 5 different people are trying to find out who this killer is, and then you're this father who's trying to find out why your one kid was killed, and then your other kid, you're like super depressed, and you take your kid to the park, and then you kind of like, you're never sleeping, not pay attention for a second, you look up and your kid's gone.
Scary.
So one of his kids already died because kind of his fault. So him and his wife divorced, and he has this whole horrible life. And then he's on dad duty that day, and his other kid gets kidnapped. So
Oh
he's
my
just having the
God.
worst go of life.
Oh, I couldn't play
then
that.
the other one is
That's too
you're a
much.
detective trying to find the killer. Then the other one is you're a girl who was kind of affected by the killer in some way. Like there's like 5, and then each character tries to find like the end conclusion. But it's like one of those choose adventure games. They're pretty
Wow.
fun. Yeah, they're a good time. Do you have anything else here on the Wendigo?
So I got a little bit on the Wendigo psychosis, but before that there was another thing here that I went to.
I kind of had
And their description, and this one's a little bit different, but it's pretty cool. So
okay.
these are from a Native American tribe that said it was large creature as tall as a tree with a lipless mouth and jagged teeth. Its breath was a strange hiss. And this part's pretty cool. Its footprints full of blood, and it ate any man, woman, or child who ventured into its territory. And those were the lucky ones. Sometimes
Oh
the
my
Wendigo,
God.
Sometimes the Wendigo chose to possess a person instead, and then the luckless individual became a Wendigo himself, hunting down those he had once loved and feasting upon their flesh. So I wonder, like, how they're doing that. Would then there be 2 Wendigos there? I would
Yeah.
assume so, right? Or if
I
he
guess they're-
possesses that person, does he leave the old body? I would assume, like in the comics, it's like there's one, but then it bites the other one, and then it turns now there's two, now there's three, and
There could just be a whole bunch of just.
Could be like
Yeah.
a hive mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that.
Oh, here it
Yeah.
is here. So another well-known case involving Wendigo psychosis is that of Jack Fiddler, an OG Cree chief and also a medicine man.
Yep.
Okay.
His powers were known defeating Wendigos. In some cases, entailed killing people with the Wendigo psychosis. As a result, in 1907, Fiddler and his brother Joseph were arrested by Canadian authorities for homicide. Jack committed suicide, but then Joseph was tried and sentenced to life in prison. He ultimately was granted pardon, but died 3 days later in jail before receiving the news of his pardon. So these were Native American medicine men
men,
who
yeah.
were charged for murder because they killed what they thought was a man who had the Wendigo psychosis.
So
Now,
here's, I found a little description of what it is. So the legend lends its name to a disputed modern medical term, Wendigo psychosis, which is considered by some psychiatrics to be a syndrome that creates an intense craving for human flesh and a fear of becoming a cannibal. Ironically, this psychosis is said to occur with people living around the Great Lakes of Canada and the United States. That's crazy. Wendigo psychosis usually develops in the winter in individuals who are isolated by heavy snow for long periods. That's weird. The initial symptoms are poor appetite, nausea, and vomiting. Maybe turn into a zombie, too. Subsequently, the individual develops a delusion of being transformed into a Wendigo monster. People who have Wendigo psychosis increasingly see others around them as being edible at the same time. They have an exaggerated fear of becoming cannibals. That's crazy.
Well, that you had just said, with the zombies, it's the same idea of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
going around and feeding on fellow man.
I think from what it comes down to now, I think most medical professions do not look at that term anymore.
No, I heard that was
they probably look at that and oh, that's bollocks to use a
Yeah.
British term.
So the most famous, we were talking about kind of earlier here, but I have more details. So the most famous case of Wendigo psychosis involved a Plains Creek trapper from Alberta named Swift Runner.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
During the winter of 1878, Swift Runner and his family were starving, and his eldest son died 25 miles away from the emergency food supplies at the Hudson Bay Company post. Swift Runner butchered and ate his wife and his 5 remaining children. 5 kids.
Must have been awful hungry.
Jesus.
I mean,
Given that.
how long did it take to butcher them and eat them?
Well, here's the
I
thing.
assume cook
So
them.
Well, here's the
much.
thing. Does
after the first one, it probably gets easier.
Well, the kids probably were little.
Well, is he
I
like?
mean,
Is he
technically.
like? All right, honey. Like, you have to keep your wife in on the loop for a little bit, or do you just murder
This,
all
soup-
6?
This
Do you
soup tastes kind of funny,
Yeah.
dear.
do you kill all 6 in
Oh.
one shot?
Yeah, then eat slow.
Because
But then
that's-
it might go bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not
Oh
going to
my
keep your food
God.
preserved. I'm not trying to justify this when I say
No,
this.
I know.
I'm just trying to
It's
like
just
psychologically think.
figure
Yeah.
out the
Did
mentality
did
behind
he
it.
convince his wife that they're going to die and they need to kill their children, and then maybe his wife was in on it, so he slowly be like 1 children, 2 children, because killing 6 people in one shot and then keeping them all preserved. I don't know. It's a weird. I mean, it was cold. Who knows? But
I would
given-
rather off myself to feed my kids before I kill my kids and
yeah.
eat them.
And the kid's like, "Ew, mom tastes weird. Not
Mom
eating
tastes
that."
weird.
And then you're just like, "I did that for nothing."
We didn't use spices.
Yeah. Given that he resorted to cannibalism so near to food supplies that he killed and consumed the remains of all that were present, he was revealed that Swift Runner was not a case of pure cannibalism as the last resort of the starvation, but rather the man with Wendigo psychosis. He eventually confessed and was executed by authorities at Fort
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea.
Oh, no, wait. It's almost like that.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
I have the
Saskatchewan.
same article here.
Saskatchewan sauce or whatever that's called.
Yeah, it is
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan.
So
How
Bret Hart
many people
defeated
does it take
Ric
to
Flair
figure
for
out
the
how to
one
say
title, and
Saskatchewan?
won it back in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Said right. It's a hard word to say.
It's an interesting thing. Like, and here's the thing that too, like, it's funny because probably in 1907, so they find Native American cultures, right? So for the most part, once again, I'm not taking shots here at Christians, but like for the most part, in 1907, there has been cases where people have died during exorcisms, right?
Mhm.
And there's no charges ever brought up. They're like, hey, they had a demon in them. We did everything they can. We didn't feed them, and they pretty much starved to death or had heart complications because we tortured these people that were going through mental instabilities. But then we find in 1907 a Native American culture who's kind of just doing the same thing, but on their terms,
Yeah,
and now we put them in life in prison. It's kind of strange. It's not like,
it's absolutely strange.
yeah, just because like, oh, we don't understand your culture, we're gonna imprison you. But that like the same thing that happens and numerous cases of paranormal situations where someone's
Absolutely.
possessed.
In Christianity and mainly in Catholicism.
Yeah, because there is a few different cases. I'm sure we can get into it. We could do a whole episode on it, like not a whole, like, but we'll pick out a few different like exorcism cases where
Oh yeah,
they're
you do a whole
during
episode on that. Many.
Yeah.
during the exorcism where the person passed away,
Mhm.
and there was never filed charges. Like
They're
literally,
like,
someone.
Oops, we were just trying to get the demon out of her.
Yeah.
And
Tried
it's
to
just
hit her.
like, okay.
Try to hit that
Could-
with her.
could
You
you
know, hit her in
imagine-
the head with the hammer. It
Could
didn't
you
work.
imagine if that happened in today's times? Now it still does, where some people are
still
like,
does happen.
some people are like, well, not even on that thing, where you have like a guy, he's like, the devil told me, or God told me my girlfriend was a devil, and she did all these crazy things, and I killed her, and they're like, yeah, whatever, weirdo, you're going to prison. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but I mean,
There are people on bath salts and meth that do that to
Yeah.
this day.
yeah, but it's like if a child died tomorrow, and they said the reason they died was because they were during an
Demon was
exorcism.
in 'em, yeah.
It'd be really interesting to see how they would handle that case in today's
Yeah.
times.
Hmm. I mean, it would also mean how America is. It would have to depend on which region
That
of the country
priest,
it would be.
that
Yeah,
priest
it
would
was
be
down
on
Because
a
south.
further down south,
Yeah.
they'd be like, well,
That happens.
They're idiots.
that happens
Yeah.
in these parts. Got a lot of demons.
that priest would be on a red eye to the
Vatican.
The Vatican, so
Yeah.
he would
So
never.
he was preserved.
yeah.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the modern day exorcisms. I'll have to look that up. I'm sure there's stuff that will
We
come
gotta
up.
do
There's
another
gotta
one
be.
on that. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it
A
here.
bar-
Well, I
Aren't they-
mean, they still do that in some
Like the third
in
world
southern
countries, I
churches,
guess
like
is-
when like there's people around, they're just like, get the demon out of you.
Oh, yeah.
What's that one guy that just like slaps the people?
Oh, remember
on their
at Benny
head?
Hinn?
Yeah,
Not Benny
there's-
Hill. Benny Hinn.
Benny Hill.
You're healed.
Yeah.
And they'd fall, and they'd all fall over. Remember we'd line them up, and then they all fall over at once.
Smack
It's
all
so
of
funny. You just go
Out
on YouTube
demon.
and type
And
healer,
just-
yeah. Out demon, out of word of God. Just like
Yeah.
that guy that was blowing COVID away with the winds of God. who he looked like a demon himself.
He did.
COVID, you will go away, and you will never come back.
And he just
I always want to be a preacher, but I don't want to. I don't believe in it. I just want to do it and make
That's
the money.
great.
That'd be
Eyes.
great.
Yeah, he had them like demon little beady eyes.
So I'm not going to get into the whole case,
Mm.
but I just typed in the last known cases where someone died of an exorcism, and it happened in Nicaragua
Okay, well,
in February of 2017.
Oh.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
And I
too much
believe
coffee.
both of her sons or her children are now being charged for murder.
Oh, good.
God.
Yeah, and then another one I see here is Annalise Michelle. I did hear about this story. She was in July 1976. She was a German woman who went under a Catholic exorcism and did not make it out.
Mm.
Yep. She was then later diagnosed with epileptic psychosis and a temporal lobe epilepsy, and had a history of psychiatric treatment, which was overall not effective. So then it was like, well, then she has to be possessed
Probably
by
if
the
it was
devil.
back in the day, it was like, hey, let's drill a hole into your head,
And
and
this
the
is-
craziness will come out.
There was a whole thing on that too. I watched where this dude was just giving lobotomies to people. Like you would
Yeah.
literally, like a guy would bring his kid or his wife into a doctor's office. He would lay you down on a dentist chair. He'd say, "Go down the street and get a cup of coffee." He would put a spike in your head, pop, 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 and then
my
you'd come back
God.
come back for your loved one a couple hours later, and they were obedient and lived their life no problem.
Yeah, because they would hit into her head, and
Oh.
they were just
Holy
like,
shit.
I can't imagine like how to mentally even prepare for.
And all you got,
Yeah.
all you got was gas. You got a little bit of gas. You weren't even fully unconscious for it because you couldn't be. Because then he couldn't tell if you didn't survive the operation right away.
yeah.
And some people would die in his chair. You know who would be an interesting case we can cover? Kevorkian.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. There's so much we can cover on this show.
Oh
The
man,
pal-
that last one made my palms itchy. I don't.
and that was an American doctor.
Well, that was the commonplace back in the day. Like when the ghost hunters go to sanitariums and stuff, they would say, "Oh, they just lobotomy room."
Yeah.
You know, there's we'll just hit you.
Isn't that
Sometimes they
crazy?
would go through your nostril, and sometimes they go through the corner of your eye.
Yeah. And that just, you know, like people that are in a car accident and they get whacked and then they're never the same. Like that's
Phineas Gage.
fucking you up. Yeah.
Well, not really paranormal, but the guy who did all the cartoon voices for like the Looney Tunes. I don't know exactly the entire story, but he went into a coma, and he was unresponsive. Like he wouldn't talk. Like he was in an unresponsive coma. And then the one day somebody was in the room, and they're like, I don't know if it was like an accident or what happened, or he just started talking, but he started talking as his characters.
Oh, it's Bugs Bunny.
So they would literally be like, "Hey Bugs, what's up?" And he'd be like, "Nah, not Doc." But they'd be like, "Jim, are you there?" And he'd be like,
Oh my
Oh
god.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He would speak to you in his coma in Looney Tune
They lived
characters.
on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who's Phineas Gage?
Phineas Gage is a famous example of psychology. He was a railroad worker, and he was hitting the spike, and it ran up through his brain, took a bit of his frontal,
Lobe?
you know,
Lower
yeah,
cortex, whatever.
and like he survived,
Wow.
and he was just a different person after that.
Well, yeah, part of your brain's
Yeah.
missing, so it's like it wouldn't work the
He was,
same. You
he
know.
was one of the first case studies for psychology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's nuts. It's strange.
That
There's
is
so much
crazy.
crazy stuff. Like a lot of stuff that was done during World War II with Nazi Germany.
Yeah,
Like
because they were trying to get
God,
like
yeah.
Hellboy. If you ever watched the movie, like they
The
were actually trying
superhuman.
to do that
Uh-huh.
and get demons to fight the U.S. with
or,
demons
or
or
were they,
black magic.
or
Yeah.
a lot of like amputee surgeries, a lot of transplant surgeries, a lot of stuff that we use today in modern medicine that helps save people's
Yeah,
lives
from Nazi science
was used during World War II because they were like these doctors were just like, we found these two twins and we don't deem them as humans because they're not German. So we're like, I wonder if we cut the right arm off this twin and the right arm
Yep.
off that twin and sew the arms back on. So they were like, in a way, they were finding out like blood donors. They were finding out how you do organ transplants and how that like they kind of paved the way, but in a really shitty
In
way
a terrible
for
way, yeah.
for like medical science.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's crazy to sit down, like Hitler sat down and said, "Okay, we need to research black magic because if we can use that, we can fight the Americans with spells."
But
Like,
that's the crazy
but it
thing.
kinda
And like
makes a
there's
little
people that
sense.
it's
Trying
like
anything that
Yeah.
works, you know.
and that's like the part where like people like I say like shit with demons and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, I don't know. I'm just like, okay, well, listen, like this shit happened in World War II.
Yeah,
like,
that was
he
a legit
literally,
thing.
yeah.
I forget the doctor's name that was like ahead of all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's why the idea of Hellboy came about.
Was
And
it
that-
gurgles?
One of the biggest things that like the main reasons why they lost the war too is just they try to do too much at one time, and they're like, well, let's put a troop here, troop here, troop here, troop here, troop here, and then he was sending troops to Antarctica, but we're not allowed to talk about that. And then he sent majority of his troops to Russia, and they're like, go up there and do everything you can. So they're like, okay, so when you go into a territory and you take it over, you have to take over their food supply, you have to take over their water supply because you're going to be there fighting for a while, and you need to keep yourself, sustained.
Yeah.
And the Russians were like, they're coming,
I don't think so, Coleman.
burn it, and every single they would literally just burn and torch the entire ground. So then, and then they would just be like staying here, fighting. Oh, they're pushing us back, destroy everything here. So every time the Germans moved up, they're like, "Yo, we have no fucking food. Like we have nothing. They're destroying the land, and it just pretty much got to the point where they couldn't sustain anymore. Yeah, and then they came back, and they're just like, and then of course Daddy came home. America was like, we're here now. And then America's like, we're here.
Captain America was there.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
then America brought Captain America and Wonder Woman. And then Italy was like,
Yeah, whatever.
Italy's like, Germany, we're on your team. You're doing well. Wait, who's here?
Well, no, we're not.
We're on their team. We're switching teams.
We got real good tomatoes, in case you want to know.
They're
Oh
like,
my God.
America. We're so sorry. We're so sorry.
Should we all talk
wanna-
like this?
You want a pizza?
stereotypical.
You want a pizza?
Oh my.
Hey.
We have a stromboli.
I know, so we do like 80s Italians after seeing Rocky, like,
We are so sorry, America. We thought the Germans. We didn't know you were coming.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, we didn't know.
We
you-
didn't know.
We didn't know. But now you're here. Hey, we on your team.
Hey, Goomba, it's alright.
We on your team. And the French are like, we don't want to take any sides.
Team Italian. Let's shit on
Team
our own
Italian.
culture.
Irish like, you joining? You're like, nah.
They were busy. They were fighting over potatoes.
If we can,
They were fighting over.
if they can swim, well, we'll worry about it then.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Ah,
Yeah.
Italy pizzeria. So let's get to his story.
Let's
Yes.
do that. Yes.
Okay.
I almost forgot. Thank you for
Alright.
reminding me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about like
Big-
the Native
yeah.
American culture and the Wendigo. There's also things in
There's-
called the Deer Women.
The Deer Women.
So I'm gonna let you.
All right, I'm gonna say the Deer Lady because that's just how it's etched in my brain.
Yeah.
I mean it out of no disrespect, but it's the Deer Lady to me. So I was in Boy Scouts for a while. I'm an Eagle Scout.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
service.
Yep.
We should start that.
No, that is awesome. That's a really high honor. So good job.
And I used to
Is
live.
Max a Boy Scout?
I have no idea.
Nope.
I feel like he's a Boy
Babcock
Scout.
is.
Yes, Max Babcock is.
But we were out camping in Oklahoma because that's where I used to live, and I don't remember all the details of what led up to this, but I do remember the night. We were around the campfire telling scary stories, and everyone's going around. Some of them were all right, some of them sucked.
Hey,
It's kids.
It is what it is.
Yep, it's kids telling stories. And so one guy was like, all right, should I tell the story of the deer lady? And one of the older guys was like, no, don't say deer lady.
We've already said it twice. One more time.
Yeah,
She shows up.
I was like 10 or 11 at the time, so I was like, deer lady, you say?
tell me more.
Yeah, tell us more. So he started by talking about the myth behind it. Oh my god.
That is a deer
Yeah.
lady you want to meet in the woods.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask.
Oh,
For that.
Canada.
Yeah, send me that link later. Oh yeah.
I'm done.
oh
I'm
my.
gonna leave.
All right.
That's like Ben
All right.
territory.
So
That's a
the
funny
deer
thing to
woman.
read here.
X-rated.
No,
I'm gonna leave.
the deer woman in mythology
Yes.
is both the symbol of fertility and of death, and
Interesting.
Yeah, I
especially
pulled up a thing about
yeah,
it.
especially we were around the Cherokee Nation, around the Osage Nation, and so there's a lot of tradition there where you'd hear stories of a tribe after a big hunt or a big battle, they'd have a celebration, and the deer woman would lead young men astray, and they would just never be seen or heard from again from their tribe.
Wow.
No remains of them.
Yeah,
The
so-
last thing they'd hear is that them talking to a woman who they've never seen before and disappearing off into the woods, never to be seen.
Yeah,
And
so-
that was the myth.
That's crazy. Yeah, it says, though primarily shown as a benign spirit, she's also shown to lure promiscuous men, so I don't know,
Yep.
to their deaths. She appears as either a beautiful young woman or a deer.
Yep.
And it says that she's the spirit of various forms of Native American mythology that is primarily associated with fertility and love.
She's like a mermaid on land.
Yeah,
like a deer
exactly.
mermaid.
She's a deer
Um,
mermaid.
But so they tell us this, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's
Mhm.
interesting, but it's not scary. So they tell us a story about a Sooner family. A little bit of Oklahoma history is that they would have, there was a land grab. I don't remember exactly when, but this is when Americans took over Oklahoma from, because it used to be designated native territory. But when America bought it, they just said, all right, sell it to whoever will buy it.
No,
So
of course.
they sold these flags to pioneers where if you buy the red flag, you have so many acres. If you have the yellow flag, you have that many. And more acres cost more. And they'd line them across the top of the Oklahoma border and say, go out, go take whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
You bought the land already. You have to go find it if it's good enough. But it's yours once you lay a claim.
And you may have to kill a few people
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah,
already living on it.
It was
Some of
the
them,
Wild West.
Yeah.
And that's the Sooners. That's what they're called. That's why Oklahoma University,
Yeah,
the
like
OU Sooners.
The Boomer Sooners that JR
Yep.
talks about. Jim Ross.
Yep, that's
Huh.
where they get the name from. But anyways, this Sooner family.
So how is that appropriate for a mascot?
It is.
So white people that go or
Yeah.
and stole land are called Sooners?
Yep, because they got their Sooner.
Get it?
Oh my god, I'm done.
Yeah, yep.
I'm triggered. I
Yeah.
lost my football team.
And no one say anything about the Sooners, Oklahoma Sooners.
That's crazy.
But so the Sooner family settled in the Panhandle, which is where the Black Mesa is. There's a bunch of mesas out there. It's like a desert. They settle a homestead there, and it's a mother, a father, and their 2 children. And every night, they build up a cabin with an attic in it. And every night, the father would go up to the attic, and he'd say that no one was allowed to come in or see what was going on. And that lasted for a year. They were able to get by, but one day the children go up the stairs, and they see that there are entrails of deer and like parts, just heads, antlers, bones,
Wouldn't that
legs,
stink a little bit?
everywhere. And it frightens them.
Of course.
And so they run down the stairs. One of them trips and falls and ends up dying. And so the
Oh.
mother says, we cannot have this anymore. We're leaving. And so she packs up all her stuff and she goes to the stables. But as she's going to the stables, she hears a horrible noise coming from there. And when she gets there, they had 3 horses. 2 of them were in the corner, like frightened. One of them was dead on the ground with its chest ripped apart.
Oh my god.
And this frightened her, obviously. And so she goes back to the house to see what's going on. And she sees the father, her husband, on the ground, dead, with a deer's leg. Because she sees the body first, and she looks up, and then she sees a woman who is half deer, half woman. And then, according to the story, she dies after that, because if you look her in the eyes, you die. That was part of the story that
Like
was
a
told.
Medusa
So who told the
thing.
story then?
An older, I don't know. And I didn't.
the
I
deer
didn't,
lady.
I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it when I heard it. I was like, oh.
'Cause you were just a
Yeah.
little Boy Scout.
I'm not trying to
Yeah.
find a
One
hole in
of,
it.
one of the
Just-
2
I was-
horses.
I was 10.
mean, the
But-
2 horses were there. Maybe one of them
but-
could talk. I
That's
don't
not-
know.
Mr. Red. Could've been.
Yeah.
That's the end of the
Oh,
lore.
Yeah.
See what I see.
Oh, Wilbur. Anyway.
Because we were gathered around the fire. I was with my tent man.
This is
and
why
we're
I
like,
sucked as a kid.
Yeah.
I'd be like, who told us that?
yeah.
As a joke.
I was just before
Yeah,
thinking about that.
I was like, I got kicked. I was like 6 years old and got kicked out of CCD. Because I think I told this on this podcast already, or one of the podcasts. But I went to CCD class, and they're like, we're gonna learn about the Bible, and I was like, sweet, super pumped. Like, we're gonna learn Exodus. We're gonna learn about the creation of the world, and I was like, fantastic.
Good band.
Right? So they start going to, like, on the first day, God created this, and this day, and this day, and then this day, and I was like, wait a second. Adam and Eve are here? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, where are the dinosaurs?
I had a
Dinosaurs
similar,
aren't real.
And they're like, out.
I had a similar. Someone tried to tell me that people were made out of mud and sticks. Because
No, a
that's-
rib
yeah,
and dust.
A rib
Yeah.
and dust.
Well, Wonder Woman's
but
made
they-
of clay.
They
Yes.
butchered the story, so that they said we're made out of mud and sticks.
Yeah.
And I said that
And-
doesn't sound right.
I think we're.
I don't think so.
And then I wasn't a Christian.
I think we come from monkeys.
Yeah.
How dare you?
And anyway,
Those things eat shit.
we're talking about this.
And we hate
story.
people for their skin
Yeah.
color.
So you guys around the campfire
Yeah.
talking about
We're
this
like,
crazy story.
What do you think? It's like, oh, that was pretty scary, but it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So we hang around for a bit, and then we get to bed. But I can't stop thinking about the story. I'm like, oh my god, that was a little frightening. And all these sounds are around me. There's owls. There's coyotes. There's crickets, birds, all sorts of everything.
Stuff sounds wild.
Yeah, we're out in the woods. And
Damn
then,
squirrel always sounds
Yeah.
bigger than a bear out
and
there.
then the scariest sound comes. Dead silence.
Oh
Nothing at
no,
all.
thank you.
Nothing at all. And that's when my heart starts pounding. I'm like, there were animals here. Where'd they go?
Where'd they go? Oh no.
That was my safety line. So I'm getting a little restless, and then I hear some rustling from around the camp. I hear something walking through the leaves. I keep my face down because if you look at her, you die. So I'm gonna be a rules lawyer on this one. I hear someone coughing from another tent.
Did they
and
have
then-
corona?
And then yeah,
yeah, they did.
and then the walking stops for a moment, and then it sounds like it's going towards that tent, and I'm like, oh no, you've doomed yourself. How could you? How could you? And I hear,
And then you farted.
then I hear,
Oh, someone's getting it.
yeah. But like, I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
Someone's getting their skull cracked in by a
Someone's
witch
getting
lady.
killed.
I mean, a deer lady.
And I'm like, oh, please go away. Please leave us alone. We've done nothing wrong.
Please, dear lady.
I
Oh,
look
you're all
up- I look
promiscuous
up-
young kids.
I see a a silhouette of a woman with antlers.
Shut the
walking
fuck
by.
up.
I may be exaggerating. I see a silhouette though, walking by our tent.
That's terrifying.
I see the silhouette, and I turn around. I cover my eyes, and I'm like, no. And then at the base of my sleeping bag, I'm tucked in. It's cold out. I feel like a pressure on my sleeping bag. It presses down, and I look over, and I swear to God, I saw a deer leg pressing down on my tent. The tent didn't open. And I was like, oh, God. and then it stops, and then it goes away, and eventually I'm able to get to sleep. And, like, I kind of rationalize it as a nightmare. You know,
Did you ever have sleep paralysis ever before?
Yeah, I have. Oh, that shit's the worst.
You could probably move during this.
But
though,
this is the part that gets me. This is the part that gets everyone. That when
Oh
I,
shit, that wasn't the scary
Yeah,
part.
it's scary. It was scary, but like if it's a nightmare, it's just a scary dream.
Yeah.
So the next morning, I wake up and I'm like,
When one of the kids is dead.
no, almost.
Everyone's
Oh
dead,
my
including
God.
me.
Oh my God.
I'm not even here.
You
And he
know.
vanishes. I'm
I'm like,
like,
that was awesome.
I tell the kid in my tent, oh my God, I had the worst time sleeping. You know, I had this horrible nightmares. Dude, me too. And I was like, well, yeah. What was your nightmare about? And he was like, oh, that deer lady story last night. and I was like, all right, you tell a detail, then I'll tell a detail. And we ended up telling the same damn story.
Fuck that.
Oh my God.
Oh my
If it was
God.
just a nightmare, I could have just been like, damn, that was scary. But the kid next to me said, oh my God, the same shit happened.
Wow.
did you ever find out where the pounding was?
We did. We got out of the tent. We were the first ones up because we were just so scared.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 5 a.m. The sun had just risen. And we go out around the campsite to investigate a bit. We see some deer bones on the path near us. And then we find the kid who was sleeping in the tent where I heard the sound. And he had this huge bruise on his chest. Like,
Was he one of the smaller kids or was he one of the
he was
older kids?
He was a bigger kid, but like this huge bruise on his chest. He was fine. You know, he made it out all right, but still, Jesus
fucking
Christ.
That's
Like why?
scary.
Because the things, the promiscuous
So-
men that it would be
Yeah.
after. So why would she be after kids though?
Well,
Unless
how
it
old was
something
this kid?
else.
13.
Yeah, so he was. I doubt
So
he
he
was
wasn't-
married to
I
be
don't know.
promiscuous.
Well,
I
no,
don't know. But there's,
I'm
but
thinking
there's
maybe
also,
puberty.
Puberty.
Like puberty, like where
Well, maybe.
you're at the
There's
point
that,
where you're
but there's-
lusting and
Mm-hmm.
There's
Your
also
body's
a
changing.
part
all
of
that kind
the
stuff.
Wendigo myth is like just evoking the name
Okay.
can bring
Like
it.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, where the more you talk about it, the more the energy comes towards you. That was part of the myth. You're not supposed to talk about the deer lady.
there's some people
Oh,
who
okay.
And every
who,
time
who don't even like talking like demons or spiritual
Yeah.
stuff in their house because they
Yeah.
feel like if you talk
The
about it, you could
intention will bring it in.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I thought that was bullshit. But then I brought up the story at a friend's house in Oklahoma, and then we were in the middle of like a suburban neighborhood. But I told the story, and a deer walked past,
Oh.
and so we were like, "All right, let's knock it off." Every time I've told it here in Pennsylvania, nothing bad has happened. So I'm
It's just Oklahoma.
I'm pretty.
Good luck, you guys.
Where,
you
where
guys-
there's tons of deer.
Yeah.
you know?
There's tons of deer,
you,
but
you have to drive
you know,
back through the
the mountains.
the grade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, that's my story.
That's cool. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing.
Is that
Wow,
is that
that's
your
so
only
spooky.
paranormal experience you've ever had?
It's the one that's like the most real. Like
Yeah.
I've had some ghost encounters.
Ooh,
With
talk about that.
I was a kid and I saw a ghost. I
Oh,
like
wow.
That's so fun.
yeah, and we had fun ghost adventures. That part was a lie.
So do we make him into a Wendigo in this episode?
Or a deer lady.
Or
Do
do
you
we,
want to be?
a
Oh,
deer?
yeah.
What's the cryptid / thing that you want to be turned into? You
I'd
want to be a deer lady?
I kind of want to be like a deer person.
Do you want to flip through the book?
Yeah, yeah.
you want to be a, do you want
Do
to
you
be a squonk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of pictures in there. If you get a name,
Can I
we'll
be
get the
the
picture
sheep
of it.
squatch?
You can be the sheep
Yes.
squatch.
Look at the
You want to be the
squonk.
snallygaster?
Squonk.
It goes state by state, and
State
then
by
yeah,
state.
there's some not pictures of all of them, but there's pictures of some. There's one called the Mississippi Alien River Monster. We gotta cover
Yeah.
Oh,
that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So does anyone have any? Well, Andy won't be here next week, so
Mhm.
it would really come
Why
down to
not?
us here.
Yeah.
What do you have a topic idea?
I don't. We can always just figure that out. What's up?
You were talking about, and this might, I don't know if this would be a good topic or not, but like MK Ultra, that type of. You were talking about like the
Mortal
Nazi.
Kombat?
MK Ultra.
That's a topic.
I don't know anything about that.
I don't know either.
That is an absolute topic that I know back and forth and in and out.
It's scary. It's
Well, then-
it's scary because it's
It's mind
real.
control. It's real mind control.
Oh, wow.
Is that like the
That
man
is-
who stared at goats came from that?
Kind of,
Yep.
yeah.
Parts of
It's the
Stranger
idea. I mean,
Things.
that's been Hollywoodized and everything, but I mean, the idea that the government has used people to.
It wasn't the one of the conspiracy theories is that the guy who killed John Lennon supposedly was under MK Ultra.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of they're saying a lot of the quote unquote famous serial killers, which right there, famous serial killers, underwent MK Ultra ideals. Because when you think about it, I say this all the time, where it's like Charles Manson wasn't just some regular hippie guy. Like he was in the music industry because he worked with the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
He worked with all the like he was in. So it's just one of those things. Like there are a lot of other, like I think it's Jeffrey Dahmer or somebody else's whose uncle or his father worked in the military, worked for the government and stuff like that. Where it's just kind of like
We're gonna
like-
get visited by the Men in Black.
Yeah.
I've had dreams already, so I'm ready.
Let's talk about the Men in Black sometime, too. There's another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We can just throw that
I mean,
into
it ties into Mothman a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MIB isn't the Happy Will Smith movie
No.
that everybody
Yeah.
thinks.
So
it is.
I think next week we're gonna have a guest on. I don't want to say the name yet, just in case it doesn't happen. And then the following week we're gonna have Jen on.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to reach out to her for not next week but the week after.
Yeah.
And then I have the guest that was supposed to be tonight, but we just kind of little cross contaminated.
Cross streams.
We could have done 2 guests, but I feel like
That's too much. I
Yeah,
think one.
I
especially
want-
to tell your story.
Exactly.
I
Focus
don't-
on him.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
better.
agree. That's why I said let's separate them a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So
if you
each guest can have their own
like
shine.
to be a guest, make sure you come with a story. Like if he came today and just
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, I like
Oh,
Wendigo."
Well, I think
You know, like-
I don't really believe in the one.
You know, you come with a
That's
story, or
super
else,
cool.
like if you have a big interest in something,
Yeah. So next,
you know, rather than just sit there and be like, "Yeah, that's cool."
next week's guest may not have a story, but
That's fine.
they kind of want to just come in and experience it.
That's
type
cool
deal.
too, yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. We'll see. We'll see about topic. Like I said, comment below if you have some ideas for
I was
some
gonna say
topics.
because if it's gonna be MK Ultra, I'll bring out all of my notebooks,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
all of my
Cool.
research that I've done over the
I-
years.
maybe we'll save that one for when Jen comes. Maybe Jen could be
Okay.
part of MK Ultra.
Cool.
I'll
Mind control. I know about telekinesis and telepathy.
Well,
and all
here's
that
the thing,
stuff,
like
so-
a little bit into the MK Ultra idea. It's the and I always say this term. It's the in plain sight thing, where it's like when an idea that's like supernatural or like on like the outside, it's like it's implanted in like comic books or movies, where it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, it's so scary, but it's just a movie. Where it's like in Stranger Things, it's in all sorts of like video games, movies, where it's that whole idea where it's just like, wow, the government's coming in, it's like these covert ops and blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, it's just a movie though. Like it's that idea of the in plain sight to devalue what's going on when there's CIA and FBI files that are disclosed all over the place
didn't
of
they-
these MK Ultra things
they
that are
also came
still
out-
happening.
They also came out and said recently in files that certain like meditations and
Astral
and
projection.
astral projection, and all that's like 100% been studied and looked into and has
Yep.
validity to it.
That and what is it called?
I'm sure they would have looked into like everything.
It's what is
years.
it called?
Explain it, and then like probably.
One of the guys.
It's the idea of remote viewing.
Oh, okay,
Remote
yeah.
viewing. It's like if I'm sitting in this room and you're upstairs and you're like turning cards over. So let's say like you pull out one of these things and you lay the X-Men Wendigo thing, and I'm sitting here and I can see like he pulled out this, he pulled
Yeah.
out that.
There is a story of a guy in this one documentary I watched that was
They
like
use that in the military, by the way.
They used that in
Yeah.
Ghostbusters when Bill Murray's flirting with the girl, and it's like she's like, "What card?" And he's like, "It's the right card." He's like, "Oh no," because he has to shock the guy gets it right.
Yeah.
And the girl, he's trying to bang the girl. So
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, you were right." And
My
the guy's
God,
guessing
you want to
them
go
all
get a
right.
drink? You're
Yeah.
so smart. You're
That's
so talented.
Literally what he did.
Yeah.
But no, there was a story. One of the guys that during one of the alien conspiracy documentaries I watched, where the guy said he was doing that, like astral projecting or remote viewing, and
I've done it. It's once you get your mind around it, it's not that difficult.
and he said one day said there was a knock at the door, and there was some gentlemen there, and they're like, "Hey, so we know what you're doing," and stop.
Are you talking about Dr. Stephen Greer?
It might have been, yeah.
Because the Stephen Greer, that happened to him
Yeah.
like when he was younger too. He actually got into a car accident, and so then he started he was actually an ER doctor, and so then this had happened. This thing had happened to him, and then he started doing like the mindfulness meditation and whatnot. He's been in the idea of the remote viewing and the astral projection and the consciousness and reaching out and doing like contact and everything. And there were people that showed up at his door and said, "Knock it off," and he was just like, "Why? You don't scare me." And so now he's done the movie Sirius, Unacknowledged, and now he's out with the fifth.
Oh, fuck. What was that movie?
There's a video game called Control where the girl gets all these types of powers. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Yep.
It's-
And it's the idea that the top percent don't want us to know that us as human beings are designed to be able to do
Yeah.
this. And so they put it in movies and that. So they're
Unless
just
you
kind
were
of like, oh, that would
like-
be so fun if we could do that, but we can't because it's
Yeah.
just a movie.
If you were really powerful, you think they would want you to work for them.
And some do.
You know, like if you're
It's
like
one of those things where it's like if you have a price and you can get bought off, and it's there are people. It's like the World War II. It's like there
Yeah.
are people that will work for you. There are things like there were psychics that worked directly with Hitler. There were there was individuals that had contact with some extraterrestrial beings that helped fund but help give the ideas for his hovercraft. For those ideas, it's a thing, man.
I believe it.
There's a movie that we watched. I'm trying to find it here. I know the cover of the movie was like blue, and it was about this lady who kept having encounters or having appearances to her by these extraterrestrial beings, and she has like audio things from it, and she was going to a therapist to get like go to hypnosis. Like she was going to, like a hypnosis doctor, and he would put her.
I
to
love going under hypnosis.
and she was like speaking in different languages and stuff. It was like a horror movie, but it was crazy.
Well, and then going like the idea of like that kind of stuff. There's this whole idea of the collective consciousness, where it's that everything that has ever known
The
and will,
fourth kind.
Okay,
Yep,
yeah.
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Where it's the collective consciousness is where all the information stored from past, present, and future is all here for us, and we just have to be able to tap into it and grab it. And I have had dreams. I took maybe 2 years of Spanish in high school, and I didn't take it seriously because I didn't take anything seriously when I was a kid. So, and I'm not French at all. I don't know the French language at all. But I had a dream where I was speaking fluent French, and I woke up, and like I woke up speaking a phrase.
Yeah.
No, it was like I said something. It was like bonjour bouffon, voulez-vous femme, and I was just like, what the hell is that? And I wrote it down, and bonjour bouffon, and because in the dream I was talking to a cat, and said, so it's hello buffoon, are you hungry? And so I guess the name of the cat was
Yeah,
buffoon.
no.
So I was.
Do you have a
So
cat
that might have been a
that's-
tap into a past life, or it
Do you
might
have
have
a
been a
cat
tap
named
into.
Buffoon?
No, I have a cat named Willow, and she's a black cat because I'm a witch.
You should.
Could-
You
you
should
coulda
name your
named
next cat
him,
Buffoon.
I should. I want to get a Maine Coon and name him Buffoon.
Oh, Maine
because-
Coon cats are awesome.
because
With
that was the
thumbs.
cat. It was like old. It was old French, and it was like the countries. It was really
You
interesting.
need to
and
bring Buffoon back.
I need to bring. I
Yeah,
need.
Buffoon back.
So that's like the universe can bring Buffoon to me, and I'll name it Buffon.
In the Middle Ages, that was kind of the idea behind Christianity. Even was that everything is connected. That's what Catholicism means. Everything's connected.
Okay. Mm.
It's
All right.
kind of changed over time, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll do it. Episode 8.
Mhm.
Like I said, we have a lot in the works. We have 3. First of 3 guests coming right now. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining
Thank you,
us.
Jackson. Thank you
You're-
for that
Thank
awesome
you for
story.
having
You're
me.
gonna see Jackson tomorrow on
Awesome.
interviews.
Yep.
What are we gonna be talking about?
We'll talk about all sorts of things, all my various projects that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Cool.
All sorts of projects, and I use that term because I'm working on music, art, video, all sorts of stuff.
Cool.
Awesome. Maybe you
Well,
can
you
help
got,
me with my video stuff.
Tyus Swoop that
Yeah.
was on. He did his music video.
Oh, nice.
The video we did for him. Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of want to learn how to do it, but I need someone who's me willing to kind of because I have really decent equipment.
I can see. I was.
I
When
just-
first walked in. I was impressed.
I have more. I have more.
Yeah.
Like I have another 2 cameras. I just don't know how to use it. So like this is set up. I mean, it looks decent, but I'm sure like someone who knows how to set up a camera can make it look better. Yeah, we can team up a little bit,
Yeah.
and
I'd love that.
Do
yeah.
it.
I can provide equipment to
Which
film.
hat has folded in such a way just like you're wearing an old time cowboy hat?
Yeah, you're like that Oklahoma kid wearing a
Yep.
cowboy hat.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll that, and then you'll be joining us for Not Cool in High School.
Sure thing. Yeah.
So I
How
found
about
out that I knew Andy won't be here, but also Steve won't be here tomorrow.
geez.
So we'll probably try to reach out and get Billy. So it'll be Ben, you'll probably be there.
Bria.
Bree, and we'll try to get Billy Trey.
I can
Or
try him.
Nikolai. Nikolai
Yeah.
Nikolai might be here tomorrow.
Billy's one of my old time middle school friends.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, I think Nikolai
Billy
might be
Trey.
coming. So if
Okay.
Nikolai comes, that'll work. If
Billy
if
can
Nic-
just sit on your lap.
That show
Yeah.
now has like a revolving
We'll cuddle.
cast of
We'll
characters.
cuddle.
The-
Cuddle with
for
Billy.
the most part, it's me. It's kind of turned into me, Bree, and Ben,
Mhm.
and then you're kind of rotating between this show and
Yeah,
that show.
so
Yeah.
I'm not too busy. It's like talk about dorky stuff. I like talking about monsters and ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You really jumped into it, man. I like it. It's
know.
fun.
Yeah,
I told you I
thank
know my stuff.
You do.
I liked how the Wendigo has. This is a good topic. I was like, man, the Wendigo is cool, but like, I always kind of like was one of those ones where it's like, because you know what I mean. It's like one of those things that was like where I thought how I kind of gave my skeptic
Mhm.
side, where it's like I just think it was more or less created to like scare people to not do bad things. Like, don't think those thoughts. You'll turn into a Wendigo, and then we'll have to shoot you. You know what I mean? But no, I didn't even. I forgot completely that how much he was woven into pop culture with like Marvel comics and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat, and how it was used in video games and stuff. A lot of people think like when they watch movies, they're like, oh, the thing turned into a weird werewolf thing, and it's like, oh no, he was turned into a Wendigo. They just didn't actually say what he turned into. So it's been used a lot. But Tori, what do you got to plug?
Whatever you have below, listed below. My band, The War Times. I do logos and I do tarot readings.
We might have new logos coming.
Whoa!
excited.
So we have a
We already
spooky,
got like 3 or 4.
a spook. Well, they'll be like
Ooh, spooky.
they'll be,
spooky.
so
It's
we
spooky.
we have another member of the podcast team that no one really sees unless
because they're ghosts.
yeah
Yeah, I mean, technically.
because they are a ghost. So we're getting our ghost member of our podcast team, but until you actually see it, you won't get it. But I can't say it because
Oh,
it'll
okay.
give it
Well,
away.
don't spoil it.
Mhm.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll see it when I
That
see
one's almost done. So I'll
Yeah.
send it to
So
you.
we have and this person's a member of every show, and people
This
are like,
person.
yeah, or this creature.
This creature.
Yeah.
Entity.
Is
This entity.
this entity is
it. Forcefully entered my
Oh
house.
my goodness.
so that's gonna come soon, and then we have like a kind of idea I pitched off you tonight that it might not come out for a while, but I understand because you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But
Get there.
it's a cool idea. I think. Well, I'll tell you off camera, but it's a new little spoof,
I'm excited.
and I think it'd be a good way to like incorporate you into it as well, because I know the other one was kind of just us as monsters,
Yeah.
but this one will be like
Okay. Yeah. I
a
wish I could do
whole
them all,
team.
but like 3 podcasts a week is a lot for
no,
me.
understandable.
No, you're
Well,
definitely.
That's why I
a
was like,
part,
if I
so-
flip back and forth, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And who knows, man? Maybe a guest that we have on that's super into it can fill that third chair.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
We're always
Whatever
open to
you
have.
may be into. You know?
Yeah.
Be it ghost, alien. We didn't do alien stuff yet.
We
Yeah.
did Alien once, and Heidi's like, I watched your Alien episode, and you barely talked about aliens. I was like,
stunk.
I was
Sucked.
like, episode 2, we didn't have our bearings down yet.
Well,
we get off the rails a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were like ADD kids.
I'm gritting because that's the alien thing is my thing.
Yeah.
That's
There
why
we go.
I am
That's
the
why the
alien.
alien.
Yeah. So we'll get into that more, and that's all I really got.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on the merch page. I'm going to start working on it tonight. I still have to do a few other podcasts. Right now, it's going to look like some of the podcast stuff that's coming is going to be. We're just going to put 2 logos each thing, because the way the website works, you're only allowed so many listings per day or in a certain
Yeah,
time
because it
frame.
thinks you're spamming.
Yeah. So, and before I had everything down to 2 listings, but it has too many errors when you try to do 2 listings. So I
Yeah.
split it up into 6, and then I can keep track of what sells better too. So I can only put so much up at one time, because now one logo is 6 listings. I don't know why I'm saying all this. But yeah,
It's
so we're
interesting to someone.
yeah. So
But
we're
in
gonna
the
have.
listings,
So yeah.
it's
So,
a ghost.
so if you're using Teespring, that's what I'm using. But no, we're doing it so I can stretch out stuff better and hopefully make it look a little better. But the merchandise will be there soon. Like I said, if you want to donate, you can. It's helpful. But if you don't, a share button is always a share button,
Yeah.
or taking time out of your day to
Like,
going to
Tell
our
someone you know.
social media
that likes it.
pages and giving us love on that as well is
Yeah.
super helpful. Word of mouth is definitely going to get this going. You guys have been fantastic with it. We're getting
People
close.
talking in the chat is great.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
you lost it.
The
halfway
only
through.
thing is, we may not do it live anymore, because with this always cutting
With
out.
it cutting out.
Yeah. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to still use the same setup thing, and then just record it and then put it up later that
Yeah,
night.
just might be better.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
because it does suck that like we get like all those like we had like I just looked there was like 140 views on it already,
Oh
and
man.
then now it's
Shit.
gone.
That's
Oh, that sucks.
That
Oh.
does suck. I mean, you know what? For a moment, it was there, so it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That exists somewhere.
Yeah. It
But now
exists
we're gonna
somewhere.
have to take it down to put the full episode up because then I just don't want confusion that people are
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
we
So
Part
then we'll
one,
put
part
the
two.
so then we'll put the intention that it's going to be there in tenfold. Then
yeah.
those views are going to be there in tenfold.
Yeah. So we may not be live anymore, which sucks because we really like to talk to you guys in the chat.
Yeah,
but,
that's so.
But here's the thing too: even if when we do put the videos up, please comment along while you're watching it
Yes.
because
as if it were live.
because we will go back and read all that. Now, obviously, if we say something like, "Oh yeah," and then you write "ha ha ha funny," we're not gonna know what you know what I mean. Like, so there has
If
to be.
you say something substantial.
Yeah.
So we will respond to as much as we possibly can. We, as a
Absolutely.
team, we will definitely try to hit you up on social media. Look at you can say follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Show us some love over on YouTube. If you have used Twitch or you are a Twitch person, that helps us a lot too.
Yeah.
Maybe not anymore because we're not gonna go live, but I may do video game streaming, but we'll figure it out. I was kind of using Twitch to possibly give us a platform to do something when it comes to getting live viewers and making money during
Yeah.
the stream. But
Nancy
if
Drew
it
CD
keeps cutting in and out like this,
What if
I
you
don't think it's worth it.
Streamed games that were themed to the podcast.
Stream paranormal
Like,
games.
yeah, like and then like for like Bros and Warpath, you playing Madden. You know,
That's
like,
so fun.
That's true. That's a good
That
call.
for
would
the
be so
wrestling one,
fun.
it's you playing the new Battleground.
Play it.
It
We'll
comes out
come
Friday.
over and then
Until
you and I
dawn.
just do like those
Yeah.
really scary
Like-
like games. And we're like, ah!
It's not a very.
Have Tori play Until Dawn for the first
There
time.
you go. Yeah,
Fun.
I never beat it either. We could do it. We could do a let's play
yeah.
one of these weekends. We'll
Or it's
come
not.
over and we'll
It's
let's
not
play.
a great game, but it has a really cool atmosphere and everything. Murdered Soul Suspect. You ever
Hell
play that
yeah.
game?
No,
Where you're the ghost detective. You died and you're trying to solve your own murder.
Oh shit.
I think Andy figured it out. So here's what we're gonna do.
Nice.
We are gonna live stream video games based on the pod. I like that idea.
That's so
Because
fun.
you know how you always post from a podcast and then
Yeah.
just theme it to the podcast.
Yeah,
Not cool in
I
high school
love
could be
that.
any game that doesn't fit in one of the other ones.
yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm into
Jackson, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna do most of my plugging tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
yeah.
plug it here just in case
Yeah.
someone's listening to this and they don't listen to that.
Yeah, so I'm a videographer. I do all sorts of fun stuff. I've done music videos. I've done commercials that never see the light of day, but I've done them.
That's all that matters.
Experience.
Yeah, I do experimental films. I've done several short series.
What's your? This is probably gonna be a question I'm gonna ask you tomorrow, but we can get it out a little bit now.
Yeah.
But what is like? Because I'm always about speaking something into existence. What is like your goal?
My goal, it is that it's I like being able to come up with an idea, and then I'm a little impatient. I like getting it done and into the real world as soon as possible. So like I will text my friends.
I bought a really
Yeah.
expensive laptop so I could do this with these shows.
Yep, and we can talk about this more tomorrow for sure. But like I will come up with an idea. I'll text my friend, "Hey, let's do this weekend." We'll crank it out, and then all of a sudden this joke video comes out. I made a short film about a guy who has lactose intolerance and he eats a pizza and then he shits himself and explodes.
Sounds wonderful.
but we filmed it.
Boom.
Yeah, we filmed it like a French art film.
Oh.
That's so funny.
And that was the joke that we're doing all this serious
I like it.
music editing, like very intense shots, and it's about a guy eating pizza, and
he
then
just
his
shits
house
himself.
explodes.
I like it.
Ah,
And I
so
love being
funny.
able to just say, "Hey, let's do that."
Yeah.
You know.
that's cool.
I'm down. Like I said, I have all this equipment that I have to learn how to use. So maybe we can
Yep.
definitely link up in the future and work on some fun
Absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. All right, that'll do it
Awesome.
for some truth behind. I must have Nicole in high school. Some truth behind
That's
illusion.
why I felt it. I'm like, I think he's gonna say
Yeah,
Nicole.
yeah.
Here is some amazing Max Bone. See you next time.
The truth behind illusion.